go of Madge and grab your badge, because you are late for Changeover, the weekly space news and variety show. I'm your host, Marty Smith, and I'm joined by Mr. History, Eric Perrott.
Woo! Good to be back.
Our man in the closet, Jake Wall.
Who's Madge? Is she some like military groupie or something?
It's the only thing I can come up with that rhymes with badge.
Oh, I like it.
Our favorite teapot, Kevin
Go
Balcom.
blue. Go blue.
And our newest addition, Juan Lopez.
Woo!
All right.
We're here to bring you the latest headlines and updates pertinent to all Guardians and to the other branches below us. So take your seats, get informed, and have a laugh as we present Late for Changeover.
Late for Changeover.
All right, Juan, you got a little work to do on that one. How you guys doing? How you guys doing?
One, man.
I know. So,
See one? Now you get it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Why? Hey there.
Dodgy pants.
you know, it's like D'Angelo Russell, man. Just show up. You know, we're
Yeah.
paying you to make baskets. You know, show
Marty
up.
show and guests.
And it's all a favor to me, and I know that, and I appreciate that.
Ooh.
But the
That's
band's
a
gonna
good
make it.
time.
You're gonna get paid one of these days. I promise.
It's a good
I promise.
time.
Oh, hell, I feel like I already got paid. I got my late for changeover hat.
Oh, you get your
Decorated.
patch?
Coffee
Yeah.
cup.
Put it
Send
on.
you one of those.
Yeah, man.
I gotta send you one.
It gives
Juan,
me
I'll
an
give you
excuse to
if you
check the
show up
mail.
at the skeet shoot, right? I'll give you a hat, Juan.
Okay.
Teapot got a mug, right? For his,
Love it.
you know, for his.
He's not drinking out of it though. He's drinking out of a glass.
Who knows where it's at? You know.
Yeah, I think my wife drank it yesterday for coffee.
Ah,
All
there you go.
right. All right. I ran across a story in stripes.com about this Army soldier who competed in a Korean Netflix reality show called The Physical 100. Have you guys
Oh,
seen that?
yes. You knew I would watch something like
So Major
course.
Gibson Kim of the 411th Contracting Support Brigade at Camp Humphreys
Love you.
was among 100 contestants on Netflix's 9-episode second season of
Love you
Physical
too.
100, which aired on March 19th. He made it all the way to like the top 20, and the event that he had to do was drag a large 330-pound cylinder down a lane that included a small hill and a reservoir, and that's where he got beat. That's where he left. So the major left. He made it into the top 20, and then he got beat.
that. That's a pretty cool show, man. They've got
I
every
watched
body type.
I watched that show. Now I started these kind of reality shows way back when Survivor was on, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Survivor was interesting, but you could tell where like the cliffhangers and the drawn out shit. And after a while, you're just like, oh man, they're trying to take 15 minutes of film shit and make it
Yeah.
last for an hour, right? I thought that was bad until I watched this show. Now, granted, it's Korean, but they have dubbed English voices in it, and the English voices are so tame. And it's so, if they're really saying this, Koreans, you got to work on some slang. But if they're not, and it's just the dubbing, because they're like, oh my God, that's insane. And they sound just like that, like a guy in a studio. This is crazy. This is rad. It's like rad. What Korean says rad? And the first episode of the second season, 100 competitors. They took half the episode to introduce all 100.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
was
They
like,
did the first
oh
time, too.
my God.
Yeah.
And you watched
Get on
another
with
one?
it, right? Get on.
Son.
And
Yeah.
then when they got into the competitions, they would show a couple of the matches, but they didn't show them like they would show 10 seconds and then slow motion and then a replay, and they just show the event. Just let me see the whole thing, right? But no, it's just all cut and splice. It got so much. I made it to the third episode. I was like, I can't watch this anymore. I kept fast forwarding it. I was like, enough.
I was impressed with some of the physiques, though, man, because
Oh
you've
my
got
God, Jesus.
marathoners, bodybuilders, weightlifters,
Everybody on that show was ripped. I mean,
female
that
frickin'
female
parkour.
bodybuilder with just bowling
yeah.
balls for shoulders. I was like, holy shit, look at this.
Yeah,
So,
that's
and they
cool.
got some big celebrities. They got some K-pop people. So I guess it's
No, I've never seen that one, but I did the light porn. So Naked and Afraid is where I'm at. They show more natural bodies. So it's just like, it's like a little bit of cellulite, some
Naked and
stretch marks. I'm
Afraid.
good with that.
naked and afraid.
That's softcore, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
she could just wait it out. She could just wait it out.
The
21
best,
days.
the best. And
21 days.
I used to buy the episode so we could watch it on Crew. Was Steve Austin's Broken Skull Ranch. Did you ever watch that?
Yeah.
That was badass, man.
That's
because
cool.
he would have it on his land, right? And he'd get 6 guys, 8 guys, or whatever, and every one of them they're fighting each other like almost every event. And he is so country. He's like, God damn, look at these boys. It's like, but it was entertaining to watch, man. It was entertaining.
Yeah, because he had guys and girls, right? So you had a group of
he
guys
had
and a group of
all
girls.
female competition, all
that
male
was cool.
competition. So it was pretty good. All right. You guys doing all right? Welcome back from Arizona. Welcome back from your friends last week. Juan, second episode.
Nice.
Jake holding steady in the closet. Glad you're all here.
Oh yeah.
We'll hide from the audience all the infighting. All right. So we'll just make believe that we're all good to go.
Infighting?
I don't. It's not. There's no fighting in this quadrant.
No, it's all just
here.
It's
I think you're misrepresenting that a little bit.
yeah. They don't know that though. They don't know behind the scenes, right? So, all right. Let's go for the news. I actually made banners this time. So this first story, look at that.
Ooh, very
First
nice.
story from spacenews.com. SpaceX is making progress on Starship in-space refueling technologies. NASA says SpaceX is on track to demonstrate in-space refueling a Starship next year, a critical technology for returning humans to the lunar surface using that vehicle. So I haven't done enough research, but Artemis is NASA's new, I think, Apollo program. Artemis is the whole moonshot program, I think, and beyond. But SpaceX is like providing the vehicle to get there.
Sure.
So it's NASA's just kind of like, we'll provide the bodies. We're not getting involved in any of the equipment this time.
They're too busy selling swag.
That's true. That's true. I almost bought a classic NASA shirt instead of the Mojave Space Center shirt.
See?
I don't know why we need in-space refueling. Aren't we just going to blow some shit up with some estrogen?
Eric, just wait till your cop stories at the end. All right, that's because
okay,
blow some shit up at the end.
No, you're wrong.
Yeah, that's how they do it.
NASA Deputy Associate Administrator for the Moon to Mars program, Amit Kashatria, said SpaceX achieved one step towards refueling a Starship with the demonstration on the latest Starship test flight on March 14th. During that flight, SpaceX performed an in-flight propellant transfer demonstration under a NASA program or NASA contract. SpaceX planned to transfer at least 10 metric tons of liquid oxygen from a header tank to the main tank within the Starship upper stage while in space. 10 metric tons.
That's huge.
It's a lot.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
The next major milestone is a demonstration plan for 2025 where 2 Starships will dock in orbit, with one transferring propellants to the other. I hate that dock has been stolen from us. With one transferring propellants to the other. We can't have nice things anymore. That's all taken away.
Docking.
In that mission, a target Starship, but this might not get any better now that I just brought that up. In that mission, a target Starship will launch first and go into orbit, followed 3 to 4 weeks later by a chaser Starship. The 2 vehicles will dock with the chaser transferring propellants to the target. After the demonstration, the 2 Starships will undock and deorbit. The spokesman said SpaceX has some work ahead of that test, including understanding. I read it fine before this podcast, but now
We could go sexual with docking.
Hold
if you
on,
want.
hold
Yeah,
on.
I was
fish
trying to
are
do
reach
the
around
Top
Wait.
Gun.
It's going to go that way unintentionally. The spokesman said SpaceX has some work ahead of that test, including understanding the slosh of propellants in the tanks as Starship maneuvers, as well as the amount of settling thrust needed once the vehicles are docked to ensure propellant flows between them. That's an hour ago. That was fine. That whole paragraph was fine.
Sounds like it's diddling.
Man, that is a rough one.
That
For
was
childish minds, that's a rough one.
All right, let's see if this one does any better. Propellant
Wow.
transfer. What?
The idea of dealing with the momentum of
Yeah.
a liquid sloshing around is pretty entertaining now.
Well, you know what? On one note was The Martian, right? Remember in the movie The Martian when they launched that relief mission, and they didn't take into account that what some of the rations liquefied, and then it created that side to side momentum.
Yeah.
I mean, all that stuff's real. I mean, right, it's real considerations, but they're actually trying to figure this out before they have to do it. So
it's pretty cool.
It's kind of ominous here. This next paragraph: propellant transfer technology is essential to SpaceX's plans for Starship missions beyond low Earth orbit, including the human landing system version of Starship that will be used to land astronauts on the moon, starting with the Artemis 3 mission, currently scheduled for no earlier than September 2026. So two and a half years ago, or 2.5 years from now. Multiple Starship launches will transfer propellant into a depot in low Earth orbit that will then be used to fuel the HLS Starship, sending it to the moon. So we're just going to have a floating tanker truck up there, right?
Yeah.
Massive fuel bladder just
Big
falling
fuel
around the
bladder,
Earth.
right?
Yeah. With all that debris.
And it's like,
Perfect.
hey, a bunch of solar sails flying in and around that fuel tank.
I like it.
Man. It's like, you got to dodge some shit up there now, man. That's crazy. So
What
I thought
could
it was
go
interesting.
wrong?
I thought it was interesting some of the technologies that they're trying to work out that we're not aware of before they really make this push. So I hope they have the funding to do it. I hope we don't run out of money. So
Yeah, you got to pay those big brains.
oh yeah,
You got to pay them.
yeah, absolutely. Got to pay a lot for docking.
I mean, if they're worried about docking, they
Docking's
should
not
probably
cheap.
bring in some other experts. I think there's some other people out there outside the box thinking could help with
Yeah. Ooh, outside
sloshing
the box.
fluids.
outside the box.
I mean, what
docking
do you
outside
like
the
to-
box.
I mean,
Very
what
good.
would you do besides docking?
Outside the
I'm
box.
sorry, guys. Sorry.
That's so good.
I
He,
don't know
like he's
what
lost for words.
I love it.
What you mean maneuvers besides docking? Is that what you asked?
Oh, God.
Oh, now he's bailing on. Oh, all right. I thought you were being serious. Okay. All right. Fine. Okay. Let's move on from the sloshing docking propellant tanks.
All right.
All right. Good news for the VA. Not really.
No,
I'm
not
gonna
really.
start every
that was
VA.
pretty
story.
good, actually, Marty. That was pretty
Yeah,
good.
it was good.
I'm gonna start.
I was
that
like,
every
oh,
time.
really?
Yeah,
No.
right. No, every time we bring up the VA, it's not good news. But this is local, right? So this isn't the big VA.
Colorado.
This is just the Aurora VA.
Ours.
This was from the Denver Post, who's been breaking a bunch of stories on the Aurora VA over the last year and a half. So, Prosthetics chief at Aurora VA improperly canceled 1,000 orders without telling veterans.
Man, oh man. Amazing.
The head of the prosthetics department at Aurora's Rocky Mountain Regional VA Medical Center improperly canceled 1,000 orders without contacting veterans who sought artificial limbs, hearing aids, other devices to help them live more functional lives. Sunaina Kumar Geibel, director of the VA Rocky Mountain Network, which includes the Aurora Hospital, confirmed the Denver Post reporting from last November that first uncovered the prosthetics order deletion scheme that left vets without necessary equipment. Multiple whistleblowers told the Post in November that the prosthetics chief, Norma Mestis, instructed lower-level staff to delete these orders as if they had never come in to help alleviate a substantial backlog.
Wow. So she could report better numbers, man.
Yes, so she could report better numbers.
Yeah, we're all on time with all our work orders.
Delete
those 10.
Delete those 10.
That's right. Said she even deleted orders personally. But don't worry, because Norma Mestis is she's now working at the Grand Junction VA, but she's in an administrative role, pending the conclusion of a federal investigation.
Oh, good for her.
Norma's probably a GS.
GSs never get fired, man.
That's the only way to get him out as a congressional freaking reviewer.
All right, we just transfer him. We'll transfer him.
Move him.
Yeah, move him to another position.
Just pick shit
If you
somewhere
can
else.
if you can prove fraud, it's still that difficult. Like fraud is fraud, man. Like that's that line, right? You're committing fraud.
It should be. Yeah, it should be. Except for government employees, you know.
Yeah. Well, think about the poor vet who's got to now reorder his prosthetic limb measurements, and I'm assuming all the things that go with it. What kind of time period are we looking at for him?
Well, first of all, they're like, hey, give us a call in a month. And he's like, okay. Yeah. And he waits a month. And meanwhile, Velma over here deleted that shit.
Yeah.
Day one. Norma over here.
But she deleted it, and that vet's doc probably doesn't even know. He's like, yeah, we should have been here a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Because I'm assuming, Marty, measurements, length, functionality.
It takes a few weeks to do that stuff. If they're not doing it on site, they got to send off for it. But I don't even know if they're doing it on site. If she canceled as soon as it came in, it's like
now he's waiting another 6 months, getting in line. Again.
You're just. I mean, it's in arrears reporting, right? So she's like, okay, we'll cancel this, and then we'll see what our numbers turn out for in June.
Oh.
And it's all a numbers game. But it gets worse. It gets worse because all these other stories about the Aurora VA, right? So these revelations came as Aurora VA has been mired in turmoil for the past 6 months. Last October, leadership removed the Eastern Colorado Systems Director, Michael Kilmer, and his chief of staff, Shilpa Runkta, while citing vague operational oversight and culture concerns. The following month, the Denver Post revealed the prosthetic scandal, as well as numerous reports from staff spilling out an environment of fear and retaliation that spanned multiple departments. So these department heads are getting hit because senators and congressmen are standing up and they're like, hey, what's going on with this prosthetic thing, right? So that flowed back down, and these department heads are like, any of you have a problem with this, you're out of here, right? Mm-hmm. So the reprisals and the fear is understandable. The removals and subsequent reporting by the Post prompted congressional oversight from U.S. Rep. Jason Crow, an Aurora Democrat and former Army Ranger who demanded a thorough accounting of the prosthetic deletions. Leadership in December also reassigned the nationally this is sad as we keep going through this. Leadership also reassigned the nationally renowned director of the Aurora VA's Suicide Prevention Center after union officials detailed to the Post, quote, emotional, mental, and psychological abuse toward its staff.
Oh, man, it just gets better and better.
But don't worry, because that director, Lisa Brenner, she remains in a temporary position outside the center as the VA's internal investigation wraps up. So she's still employed. So don't worry about her. She's good. Her and Norma are still good.
So they're taken care of. While
they're
the
taken care
of,
while the staff is like,
so it's okay for them to still stay employed,
right?
Still keep going, but you know what? If you're missing the leg, that's cool. You can play can't even say. Anyways, you're having to hop around with one leg, but whatever.
Yeah.
Or the staff is scared to death of you, you know, and but that's okay. That's all right. They're still employed.
You know what's going to happen next? Mass shooting at the VA.
Kind of like the old post office shootings. Remember the old post office
agree with
shootings?
them being still employed until they're proven guilty.
Well, and if you get in the
Right, they're
mindset,
still- okay.
if you were working there and you're like, this chick threatened to fire me like every day for the last 6 months, and she's still employed even after I filed a complaint, and that's the whole thing, and that's the part that drives employees crazy. They're like, if they had fired her, I'd be like, okay, there's somebody watching out. There's some adults in the room, but they keep her employed. I'd be like, motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's like we said though, it's so difficult to fire a GS.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm assuming that's
I don't
what
know
she
why.
is. So
I
she
don't know
has.
why it is, but
It's like a freaking. They got to go see a jury and everything. Almost. It's crazy.
Well, especially when it's this obvious.
yeah.
It's black and white, man. It's right
Well,
there.
Yeah.
Listen to this last one. Additional red flags came when a number of people in executive leadership departed in rapid succession last year. Just a bunch of people are like, hey, I'm going to get another job. You too?
Wonder why.
After
Oh,
staff
what's
meeting,
going on?
Yeah.
log on rate to USA Jobs is 98%. Staff meeting went well.
How many PTO days I got? I'm burning them all, baby.
Well, there's someone that we know that I know that works at that VA, and he's always looking for like ways to get out of there. He just says that it sucks, but he never told me details. He's doing all the IT stuff, but now that I'm listening to this, that like if everybody's feel threatened, they're walking on eggshells. Like why the hell do you want to be there?
Right.
But he's vested in there because he did a little bit under 10 years in the military, bought his time back. So it's just like now he's kind of stuck. Like, okay, do I just quit or move on? So some people are stuck there because they want to build up that retirement.
There's a lot. Yeah, you got a lot riding on it. You know, it's not a job you can just kind of quit and come back.
It's your livelihood, man.
Yeah.
Okay, lastly, in the Aurora Hospital's intensive care unit, leadership initiated a fact-finding mission in the wake of the Denver Post reporting last month that detailed allegations from staff of unsafe practices in the intensive care unit, including nurses taking on more patients than is generally deemed acceptable. Whistleblowers also said leadership in one case instructed providers to give a patient an unknown tincture provided by a family member.
Come on. You can't make this up.
It's
ridiculous.
You know, and it's the VA environment is so bad because I really think that some of the upper level managers have ideas of how we can streamline this thing, right? But maybe their hands are tied, or maybe they're just like, no, we've got to keep going this direction because this is what we briefed Congress or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you got people who are, and they put downward pressure on these subsequent managers who are just like, I'm going to get fired if I don't make these numbers. And if you don't help me, you're going to get fired. So all of a sudden that environment is just horrible, just terrible. Right. And at the bottom of it all is the vet.
Yeah.
You know,
Who's being stepped on.
Yeah. Or forgotten or ignored or canceled order, all to make numbers. And like you said, he's still hopping on one leg. God damn it.
Dying in the bed in the hallway, man.
I feel awful because the VA's been like nothing but good to me. Like it's just this. They've been so good. I am glad I didn't get my hip done at the VA, obviously, because that would have been. But they for primary care and in general questions, like they've been really good. It's unfortunate that it's gotten to that up north.
Well,
Colorado Springs hasn't been bad, honestly.
No, I agree with you. You've said that before, Teapot, and I agree with you. They've treated me okay, but I'm not a high maintenance guy for the VA yet. 20 years I might be, but not right now. And just to see some of those guys in there with their wife pushing them in a wheelchair. I mean, any delay on any of that shit could be fatal to them. So
you talk about the nurse thing. The nurse thing that's actually pretty common right now. Nurses are stretched pretty thin. Yeah. But you got me with that tincture thing. I'm like, what nurse? What healthcare provider is gonna be like? Yeah. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna go ahead and
It's probably somebody like he brought this in. I don't recommend it. And they're like, give it to him. If that'll keep him happy, then give it to him. But tincture, I can make a tincture. I just need the bottle.
Yeah.
I just need the little brown
Right.
bottle, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty lousy. So I don't know. I hate to have those VA bashing sessions because it's such an easy target.
Yeah.
However, this is the Denver Post, and when you go into the level of mid management or lower supervisors are afraid.
Well, and the tenure of bashing the VA didn't just start this month last year. This has been going on months, years.
Well, how long ago was that? And you brought it up real quick, Eric. How long ago was that when they were like, people dying in the hallways of VA, right? Wasn't that 5-8 years ago?
Yeah, it hasn't been that long. Yeah. So they were redoing the whole concept of the VA, trying to put processes in place where vets weren't left in the hallways unattended in a bed.
Well, I still tip my hat to one of the best things that the Obama administration did was the expansion of using civilian or non-military docs, civilian docs, as long as they sign up for TRICARE and all of that. Yeah. But the ability to just now go there because, God, it wasn't that long ago where you had to go to base. You had to go to post. So, and that was under the Obama administration. So I give him big credit for doing that because that made things a lot easier. Now, trying to find a doc that takes TRICARE because most of them are like, those fuckers don't pay. I'm like, shit.
How slow am I this month? All right, man. Come on.
I'll take it.
Yep.
It's like, I got this hip thing. Well, let's start with physical therapy.
There's some
7 times a charm, baby. Here we go.
TRICARE Select. Okay, I am curious about this next story. What you guys think about this next one, right? So this is also Colorado. And this is from military.com. Fourth, I'm not even going to say it says Army Division bars leaders from bothering their soldiers after work hours. But it is the 4th Infantry Division at Fort Carson. So Major General David Doyle, commander of Fort Carson, issued a memo last week barring leaders from texting or calling subordinates between 6 p.m. and 5 a.m. with some caveats, including communication for health or safety, right? In his memo to the division, Doyle noted that after-hours communications keep soldiers on edge and, in many cases, aren't necessary. The new policy is also punitive, meaning leaders who do not abide by it could face legal or other disciplinary ramifications.
Unbelievable.
Now, I know where you're going because my natural thought was like, they're so soft, right? But, Eric, here's my
You're not going to
counter
convince me otherwise. This is the
no.
most ridiculous fucking thing I've ever heard.
This is my devil's advocate to you, right?
Eric,
We didn't have cell phones, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have email, right?
Agreed.
We had a landline.
Correct.
All right. Now, if you had a cell phone and I can reach you anytime, and I think part of the problem or part of this issue comes up because I think you got lazy supervisors and stuff is like, I'll just text them now. I'll just text them. Did you get this done? It's just like, it's unnecessary text, phone
It becomes
calls,
a micromanaging tool.
post.
I'll tell you.
Unfortunately, right?
This thing during COVID,
Yeah.
our commander, she was just sending out text messages and taskers, and she had no stop. So myself and Kevin Reed, we called her. It's like, hey, man, like people, like if duty hours are 07:30 to whatever, and you're sending text messages to the masses all the way up to 10:30, 11 o'clock, then you're not respecting their private time. And I know, Eric, you're shaking your head, but this is during COVID. So just because there's COVID, now we're going virtual, doesn't mean that you use text and you send messages anytime you want.
I hear you, but I'm going to take it a bigger step.
All right.
When you sign the paper that
Yeah.
I will defend and whatever else it says, it didn't matter what time it was. It didn't speculate the duty hours were 7 to 5.
Right.
if I need to contact you, if I need to account for where you're at, it's due.
It's a mission critical though.
But
that text
Eric,
message mission critical.
Didn't
As
say
if it's
anything
just
about
like,
mission
hey,
critical
did you
either.
get your CBTs done? And did you do your TPS report? I'm gonna say fuck off.
I mean,
nobody's dying.
That's good. Yeah, there's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank you,
there's
Jake. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, Eric, and I'm all with that. But at the same time, can't you see how that could be abused by a leader going,
well,
hey, did you get your boots shined today? I mean, like, fuck off.
It was.
I thought we were going to war, and you're calling me about that.
Back then, it was abused back then. You'd get landline calls.
If you answered those landline calls.
But there was 6-ring standby though, because people say, "Hey, you're on."
That's true. I mean, if you were on alert, if you were on something like that, yeah, you couldn't have refused.
Yeah.
You got a phone call. I know cops. When we went home, they would tell you, "Stay by your phone. If I need you, I'm calling you tonight."
Yeah. Well.
But yeah, heads up.
6-ring standby was for operational purposes, right? Yeah. We were on standby for something.
Yeah.
This constant micromanagement or in your disrespect of your time isn't for any significant operational anything.
All right. Now I will
it's
agree
for
with
stuff that could wait till tomorrow. Nobody's going to die.
Right.
Nobody's going to get hurt. Nobody's doing it's like, hey, make sure to do this tomorrow. I'm like, okay, tell me fucking tomorrow morning.
Yeah. I'm just talking big picture, strategic picture.
Oh,
You're in the military.
I absolutely
picture,
right.
Real world tasking, none of us have a qualm with that.
But here's the thing is, if it gets abused, so the way I see it, if it's being abused, and by the time something serious happens and people just got conditioned to ignore this shit, then whatever text message comes, then you're just going to ignore it. But if you know that it's actually coming and you actually get a text message at 10:30 and you see that it's from Sergeant whoever, then you're like, oh shit, this is serious. Like they wouldn't be texting me at 10:30.
It's the whole crying wolf theory. You know, you
kind of. Yeah, right.
You love me so much. Fuck you. I'm not answering. I get that.
I mean, Eric and the rest of you, everybody's had an end of week meeting with some supervisor or some commander or some ex or DO or something. Or it's just like, we've already answered these questions. Or, you know, these questions that you have, stop. We can do this Monday morning or whatever it is. That guy back then is the one who's incessant texting or posting or something, and you have to respond to it, even if it's on Facebook or something. You're like, oh fuck, I get it. What is it? All right, that was worthless.
Well, again, you're in the military. You signed up for it. That's the part,
of course,
where for me. What we've talked about over the past 2 or 3 years, Marty, with the recruitment, the retention, the caliber of person coming into the military now has changed drastically from even you guys coming in. The mindset is not the same.
Sure. I mean, they're recruiting different people, but at the same time, they are increasing the ops tempo, and this goes into it without like any wars. We're just like, oh, we got to go on deployment again, and like, okay, that's what I
Marty,
signed
you brought
up for.
something up. They're recruiting different people. Eric, that includes their leadership. They have no respect for your time.
Yeah, good point.
And your well-being.
I can see that as well.
Right? They want answers right fucking now on trivial questions.
Yeah.
They're the Google's, that generation is still up, right? No, they're the Google, give me the information now.
That's a reminder to them as well. Hey, you're a freaking leader. But that shit is so unnecessary that it can wait till Monday.
I get that. But I thought of one for you, Eric, and all of you chime in. Who's that one who just made staff? Who's the go-getter? Who wants to, I want to impress the ops soup or whatever. So I'm a nervous staff now, but now I'm in charge of some people. So I got to make sure my shit's squared away. So now I'm going to over communicate 1,000,000 times because I'm nervous, and you're just relax. No. I need this answer now because I got to get back to it. It's like it's 6:00 on Friday night. What are you doing?
It's the cover my ass emails.
It's the cover my ass emails. Yeah. So imagine that multiplied from when we were in, right? Because you don't have the soup saying, "Hey, look, ease up on these guys. Take it easy." Yeah. But they're too nervous. They're too worried about themselves.
Well, and unfortunately, all the new platforms of freaking emails and fucking cell phones have made it overwhelming. I believe that too.
Well, and if you go on to WTF Moments, or you go on to that Facebook page with what is it, Airman NCO, Senior NCO.
I like
page
WTF Moments a lot.
Yeah, and they
The Army
post.
one.
You could find, 15 posts where some soldier or some airman will post like some memo he was given, or some mass email that went out to everybody, and like, can you believe this guy? That kind of thing. And you read it and you're like, yeah, that was dumb. He should have waited. He should have waited till the next day or something. He didn't need to send that out, right?
Well, and then that doesn't take investigating. It's not like the Denver Post is looking into those emails. It's live. They're just sending them things right there and then.
So
it's such a big change for me to hear
it's a different way to think. Yeah, it's a different way to think. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Change.
But at the same time, Eric, you and I probably had leaders who understood the responsibility of like, okay, he's off.
And then you said, when you said, Marty, can this wait until the next day, right?
Yeah.
You know how many times I had supervisors, even commanders, that would walk around the shop. It was like 4:30, and that's the first question they would ask: can this wait till tomorrow?
Sure.
And that's like, oh yes, yeah. So and then it's like, then get the fuck out of here. Like, why are you?
But that's the commander. That's not your section leader.
Yeah, you're going to give him an answer regardless.
You get down to that tech or staff who's like, I don't give a shit. You're doing it. You're cleaning this because we got an inspection coming Monday. It's just like, are you fucking serious?
But I never really had like those staffs and techs that were kind of like, Teapot was my supervisor. So
he just yelled at you for the Michigan game.
Wouldn't you like to be
That's it. Root for Michigan, 5, baby.
Would you like to be a fly on the wall for initial leadership classes for some of our young lieutenants who are
they don't get any leadership classes. I've asked many of those lieutenants, and they're like, they don't tell us leadership.
Come on, hey, when job requirements now, this is just not in the military. People ask for soft skills. The fact that you have to prove that you have soft skills, what does that say about this generation? They're seeking out people that, can you talk to people and can you stay away from your cell phone? Do you know how to get up out of your desk? That's an issue. I mean, there's probably going to be leadership etiquette courses on how to get out of your freaking desk and talk to people.
Marty, you know who would have a great conversation with this? Is General Petty.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Absolutely. From a training and leadership standpoint.
I agree, man. That
huge.
guy. He's going to be on May 21st. He's coming on. He's going to do another battle analysis while Teapot's in Disneyland.
I told you guys this before. But,
I know.
Teapot has priority.
Not Disney World, by the way. There's a push.
You're going to Florida.
There's a push in the corporate world to hire more Gen X managers because their ability to handle both the older and the younger generation.
That's bullshit.
I'm just telling you right now, man. I've heard it a few times, man.
Yeah, but it may be a push, but the hiring manager is still going to hire by the job description.
True.
You know what I
mean?
I'm
just telling you, Gen X type skills for managers are in demand.
All right,
very in demand.
Okay, let me finish this up. The move comes amid a historically high cadence of deployments and training rotations for soldiers, despite no major ongoing wars. All right, that does suck. It's like when, the National Guard guy, he was like, hey, they're calling the Guard out. Can you believe that they had discussions? Senators had discussions about calling the Guard for like the Columbia protests and all that stuff. It's like, it's not your call.
Oh, yeah.
It's the governor's call.
It's the governor's call.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. So why are you discussing the National Guard like it's this reserve thing that you could just pull out, right? Anyway. Fort Carson policy is akin to a similar set of rules established by the Army's 10th Mountain Division of Fort Drum in 2022. Relationships with phones, particularly with the rise of work-from-home culture, has made it easier for work to bleed into personal time. Some civilian companies have started to codify policies restricting when managers can contact employees outside typical working hours. A law was proposed in the California State Legislature on April 6th that would create a so-called quote, right to disconnect, end quote, effectively giving employees legal protection to ignore work calls, emails, and texts after hours. In 2017, France passed its own right to disconnect law that gives workers at companies with more than 50 employees the right to sever digital communications from employers outside of regular business hours. Portugal, Belgium, Australia, and Ontario, Canada have also since passed similar laws. Now, I know where you're getting at. They're like, oh, these guys, right? These younger generation. However, looking back, that would be nice to know if I'm off, I'm off. I mean, shit, that would be nice, right? Now, if you're on a 6 ring or if you're on something like that, okay, I'm not off, right? I'm still on alert. But to be called, which maybe it happens very frequently, to be called and go, hey, I just calling to check on this, and you're like,
I'm truly torn with this one. I got to tell you, I really am.
That's good. That's good though.
I'm torn.
This came into effect for me personally just at this new job because we had like a text group that was just snide comments, and then all of a sudden it turned into hey, who's at this, who's at that, who's doing this, who's doing that, work text.
Really?
And I got sick and tired of it. I was like, all right, that's 0.5 OT.
Oh, nice.
Like,
nice.
What do you mean? I go, you're contacting me with bullshit after work hours.
Yeah.
0.5 OT.
Questions.
Right.
He goes, it's just a text. I go, any response equals 0.5. Boom. I'm like, fuck off. I'm like,
the balls on the man in the closet, man.
You don't need this job. Like, that's how fortunate we are. We don't need this job.
I agree.
And even if we were like to get fired from this job or just quit this job, there's a dozen other space nerd jobs around that might not be perfect.
Yeah, that's true.
But we're still not slinging burgers.
If you're still fighting
Respect
for clearance,
my time. Fuck off.
For a clearance personnel, so is everyone else. So there's a lot of other opportunities out there, right?
Well, and like you said, the right to disconnect, I get that part, but certainly in the civilian world too.
Well, imagine you deployed to Afghanistan, like a real deployment, not like to LUD deployment, right?
Hanging out
so
in the hotel.
Imagine you went for a year, you came back, you recovered, you went to Disney World, you came back, right? And now you're getting after hours calls, and you're like, motherfucker, man, leave me alone. I'm not even what? For what? What do you need?
Yes,
like, yes, I locked the Connex. All right, thank you. God damn, and I get it, and especially when you're trying to retain people, that's kind of an easy kill. That's a low hanging fruit thing.
It's those little minor things, though, right? That they're gonna remember. It's like what, like, dude, like, why am I gonna stay in so they can hound me all the fucking time?
Yeah,
like,
so they can keep calling me about or my slides updated. No, F you, right? I mean, but you get those, and I get the mental push on that, right? I get the mental push on that. It's like, geez, give me a break, would you? So,
I will concede some of that.
No, I'm not trying to concede, but
no, I know. I'm just saying I will concede because it makes sense. Especially what Juan said.
My thought was just like where you were going. They're like softies, right? Softies. Yeah. But at the same time, it would have been nice to go, it would be nice to come out of the field, turn in my weapon, and go home and not be bothered until Monday morning. That would be great.
And if it's one of those weeks where you're getting ready for inspection, because this is the only time I think, like in my military career, when I would get phone calls, right? There's an inspection or something's going on. It's like, I remember just telling people, it's like, hey, man, I'm going to stay here a little after hours, head home.
Right.
Go spend some time with your family. But I might call you because I might have some questions. Are you cool with that?
Right.
But you just communicate that.
Oh, yeah, if you're that kind of leader. But that's not right. It's like, boop, boop. Hey, Teapot, you there? Hey, I need you to bring in some magic erasers tomorrow because we're going to clean for the ORI. Don't worry about our paperwork. We just need to make sure the walls look good.
Oh,
that was
I would have been like, cool, Marty, I'm not working shift. That works. I'll bring in magic racers. I'm going to work a mid tonight. All right, man. Yeah. Best phone call I ever got from you.
I knew that was going to come back on me.
I always said, like, if you guys were ever like a colonel or general, like at least for myself, if I went to the MCS and they're like, it's spotless, if it's like super clean, I think I would want to stop an airman or a guardian's like, hey, what'd you do yesterday? Oh, yeah. I spent 8 hours cleaning.
The same thing you did 20 years ago. You were cleaning bathrooms and hallways because you wanted to impress the ORI team that was coming in, because that would make all the errors that we made on SIFs and TPs go away because our walls were spotless. It was the dumbest philosophy. And remember, this was really dumb, Eric. You would probably quit the podcast if you knew we all did this or were forced to do this, right? During those ORIs, they would take crews in to evaluate them. So the commander was like, hey, we got to line the hallways and cheer them on as they're walking into the training suite. It was the dumbest shit I've ever done.
Remember,
and you're like, woohoo!
My last 4 years
It
was an
the
IG inspector with
dumbest
Space
thing.
Command.
Did you see cheering? Did you see cheering?
And what I was going to tell you is not once in all of our meetings, all of our planning meetings, did we ever go, holy shit, that organization, that squadron had the cleanest walls fucking around. We never had that discussion.
That's because they were all spotless.
We never talked about that shit.
If they were filth,
simply,
you'd be like,
are you functioning up to speed?
And if any of you three guys have walked in the MCS now, you'd be like,
oh, it's trash.
This is Aurora. The MCS, this is horrible. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a broke down car in the hallway. This is fucking horrible, right? Fucking 30% of the toilets work. It's like, God damn, this thing's low rent now. It's really bad.
I mean, it's 20 something years of all 24/7.
That's 24 years
abused.
Right? Yeah.
Just 24/7, like the freaking ketchup packets underneath the toilet seat, fucking all that dicking around that we've reminisced about. That poor building has been fucked over for 24 straight years.
I did literally see the result of like the saran wrap over the toilet. That was fucking funny.
Remember the little shooters that they used to find in the freaking trash can right before you entered the building? Early on, they were
be a little more tactical. All right.
Fucking somebody was drinking shooters from the turnstile all the way to the building and then throwing them in the trash can.
You boys needed some more guidance, I believe.
Yeah, I know you left all your shit in an air raid shelter, Eric, so,
Yeah.
Boys need some guidance.
Good. All right, let's do a good. Oh fuck! Did I leave the? I left the whole goddamn wrong banner up there.
You did. I was going to say something, and then I went.
Why did you say something?
He must not care.
Well, no, he would judge you anyways. That's how
he spent 45 minutes making those banners.
Podcast, Eric.
Yeah, thanks for contributing to the team. I think I'll call you around midnight and go, hey, is my banner still fucked up?
Well, because I'm a good fucking troop, I go, yes, it was still fucked up. Talk to you.
You would, you son of a bitch.
This plays out perfectly because Eric responds to you 90% of the time, and I'm like, I'm not on fucking shift.
I know. That's 0.05 of $0. So that's what you get. All right, let's do
in the good conduct medal runoff.
I love how this played out in real life right here. Like
that's perfect.
Holy shit, that is funny. All right, let's do a good news story. We haven't done that in a while, right?
No, we need one.
From stripes.com, petite powerhouse. A Kirkland Air Force Base airman is a source of great strength. Corny. All right, here you go.
Got bonus points for that.
Let's see.
My pants just shrank.
Mine got looser.
Senior Airman Bianca Mendoza of the 377 Security Forces Group Defender and a Colorado native is an airman who exercises the fly, fight, and win model. I have not heard that in years, so that was good to bring back. Mendoza was born and raised in Fort Collins, Colorado, where she was an athlete for most of her life. Serving in the military, Mendoza found a bigger reason to remain fit to fight. She discovered a community within the Air Force that would allow her to maintain her physical fitness and accomplish things she never thought possible. Quote, I started my powerlifting journey here at Kirkland. My flight chief, Master Sergeant Spears, was big into powerlifting, so I took the initiative in expressing my desire to get into the sport. One thing led to another, and he became my coach for the next year and a half. Mendoza currently holds the New Mexico's junior women 56-kilogram powerlifting record in the 20 to 23 age bracket and is aiming to become a professional powerlifter, standing at an empowering 4 feet 10 inches tall and weighing in at 120 pounds.
Wow.
For the interview, she was putting on 295 on the deadlift. I searched. I could not find what her powerlifting record is in New Mexico. I don't know. I couldn't find it. I searched and searched and searched.
Did it provide?
But if she's working out with 295, and I saw one record from a couple of years ago. It was over 300. So to break,
well, she's only 20 to 23. Like they don't peak till mid 20s,
late 20s, or yeah. Right.
It takes a while.
She's gonna get.
She's already. Look at the shoulders, man. Like she is legit.
Wait.
Like she's gonna. Yeah, she stays with us. She's gonna break some records.
Yeah, look at it.
Right on.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so she
look at that. Eric could
pressing.
not be prouder.
I'm like a proud dad, man.
You got a
power lifter and a cop.
I know.
Right on.
It wasn't his granddaughter's age.
True that.
She did say
Notice
that
I'm
her
not
daily
commenting on the
duties.
tattoos.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you would be the grandpa downer on that. You're like, hey, good job on lifting over 300 pounds on a deadlift.
Get that shit covered up.
Did you really need those tattoos?
Get that shit covered up.
Ridiculous.
Get that shit covered up.
This is really a good life choice.
And she would drop the weights and go, Grandpa.
I wonder if Eric's like trying to say is that 25% of the body? Are you allowed to have those tattoos?
You can have everything now.
You can have everything. I'll send you our episode where we went into detail on that.
Beat it.
I missed that. I wish I was there because I would have been devil's advocate all day, every day. Oh, it would have been great. I missed it.
Me too. She said she is dedicated to placing in the top 5 at a national level where she will compete against others in the United States. She's training hard, or quote, I am training hard for my upcoming national powerlifting competition. After that, United States Powerlifting Association military competition is something I am looking to represent the Air Force in. Nice. Mendoza's advice for anyone looking to start their fitness journey: don't be scared. You always have a fear of being in the gym. You worry that people are going to judge how much you can lift or what you can do. Be confident and don't think about it too much. It can be scary to put yourself out there, but you have to if you want to succeed.
Yep.
So good on you, Senior Airman Mendoza. Right?
Nice. Very nice.
Probably any other AFSC, you wouldn't have the time to do it, but she chose security forces. So.
Oh, I forgot. You guys are so busy sitting at the terminal.
No, Eric already told you we're cops with better climate control. That's really it.
That's all it is.
Actually, there were a couple guys. I remember Stroder was one of them. Who always had the weights? Who always had the weights as they were sitting at the console?
Oh, on the ops floor, yeah.
Sitting.
No,
I never saw them do a lot of weights, but they were sitting by their chair. It's kind of like Willie with a gallon of water to show that he works out because he has to stay hydrated. You're carrying around a gallon of water with you all along the ops floor. It's crazy. That is insane.
And 30% of the toilets are not functioning, so
But
you're in trouble.
That's true because he pissed 2 of them out of order.
Oh, shit.
Eric finishes out with U.S. military history.
Ooh, U.S. Oh, damn it. No,
I know.
Let's see what I
Yeah,
got.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
I'm gonna call you today. I should have
All right.
called you last night. And it was like, hey, do you have U.S. military history ready?
All right, so here's my first one. Something I guarantee you boys didn't know. On 30 April 1789, at Federal Hall in New York City, the first capital of the United States, General George Washington took the presidential oath of office with a hand on the Bible, a sacred volume borrowed from a local Masonic lodge and subsequently known as the George Washington Inaugural Bible. He said, I quote, I, George Washington, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, end quote. At that time, at that moment, the Chancellor of the state of New York, Robert Livingston, the person who administered the oath to the first chief executive, exclaimed, long live George Washington, the President of the United States. How about that shit?
That was April 30th?
April 30th,
Nice.
1789.
Nice.
All right, and this one,
Oh,
I
we got
wanted-
bonus.
you got a little bonus. This one I thought was really important because it was inherently important to the conclusion of World War II. All right.
Okay.
April 30th, 1945, holed up in a bunker under his headquarters in Berlin, Adolf Hitler commits suicide by swallowing a cyanide capsule and shooting himself in the head.
Allegedly.
Soon after, Germany unconditionally surrendered to the Allied forces, ending Hitler's dream of a 1,000-year Reich. So there you go, fellas. Quick and painless, but 2 very important.
This is a 10 out of 10 one, Eric. Yeah, this is 10 out of 10.
You shoehorned the Adolf Hitler in there, but I'll give you credit.
Well, it's the Allies. Yeah, it was part of the military.
Well, as long as it was like a Allied suicide pill or a U.S. pistol.
Maybe he used a Chinese round to blow his head off.
Oh.
Which pushes us
In your
even
face,
further from your mandate.
Yeah.
I'm just going where we know where most of the rounds are made, right? China makes everything. All
right, Juan, how's your OnlyFans session going there? Laying on the bed.
Juan, we're gonna have to
Good tips
coordinate.
tonight.
No
Yeah.
coins, no nothing. Not
collab.
even crypto.
Yeah, so you're off hours for Europe, so
Yep.
what do
We
you
won't call you tonight, Juan. We won't call you.
Yeah, that's right.
I-
Good call.
Hey, if you do, I know it's important.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Very good.
Hey, Marty knows all about that, man. Every time Marty called and I was on my day off, I was like, he needs somebody.
I apologize for not remembering all the calls that I made, but all 3 of you have made comments to me. It's like, I remember you called me one time. Juan, you told me I guilted you into it.
Yeah.
In fact, I think all 3 of you said I guilted you.
But no, if you
didn't
called
care.
us,
Yeah.
we knew you needed us. We're like, all right, good call.
You guys are gonna make me fucking cry. Jesus. This is
Marty
so
was all
bad.
right. Marty was all right. Yeah.
Dude, Eric, this is how much I gave up for Marty. I had George Clinton and the P-Funk All-Star tickets.
God, I do regret that.
Oh,
And
we've talked
Marty
about
was
that.
like, I was like, dude. He's like, you're the last one. I was like,
Service before self. Right
flashlight. Neon lights.
It's
Oh.
important, Jake.
If I had any skills at all and I had a mixing board, I would have brought up and the
Celebration.
funkadelic, baby.
I was there. I had my tight pants on.
See, Eric would have reported with no reason. I'd be like, Eric, we need you. And he'd be like, I'm there.
Right on.
Already in my blues.
And then he would have lifted that whole midshift. And they're like, where's Eric at? He's like, oh, he's lifting.
I'm low crawling out to my vehicle
Call me
in a
if you need me.
stealthy manner.
I'll be over at the ADF gym lifting if you need anything. So.
Oh man.
On that note, I think we're end up. Yeah, you guys good?
Oh, yeah, works for me.
I know. Jake, you keep sending me that, or I got that text about stuff posted on the. I remember. When was it? Did I take the picture? No, I didn't take the picture, but the memo from the. Were you on Teapot? I know you weren't on one, but there was 2 months ago. I was in the MCS, and I was taking a piss. And what was above the toilet?
Oh,
the commander's
wait.
memo saying, "Don't put coffee grounds in."
Yeah,
into
context
the urinal,
is
right?
the context is I just sent Marty, hey, mid-shift conversation idea.
Yeah,
Random bullshit posted above the urinal.
that's true. Right.
Like the dehydration. Don't put random shit in here nor in there. I'm like, who the fuck says nor? Nobody said, you know,
or vote for
like,
hey Teapot, didn't you
Nor.
vote for Pedro and
like
put
that
pictures
kind of
in?
shit.
Yeah, vote for Pedro. That's come on, man.
Oh, I remember those days. Yeah.
Like the freaking
yeah.
Tinkle Times or the freaking
Tinkle Times, yeah.
Like the
That's
freaking
what they used to stick on the
essential
inside doors and
paper or
stuff.
some
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
like that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Unbelievable.
Whatever the hell.
Native American Month. Go to celebrate whatever it was. That's where you got all your news. Not
Yeah.
from the guy who calls you at 8:00 that night. He's like, "Hey, do you know Native American Month is next one?" And I was like, "Yes, I read it in the toilet. Thank
Do
you."
we have any Pacific Islanders? Do we need to tell them specifically? Who do you think? Is
Marty.
Juan Pacific? No, he's not, sir. He's not.
Let's call and make sure.
Well, if I can call, are you sure? Yeah.
Eric, did you ever get a call to like, "Hey, did you put anybody in for an award this month?"
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Did
yeah.
you need
Eric
that
was
phone
like,
call?
Fuck yes, I
need
did.
that phone call.
I said my
I put
shit
myself
has
in
been
again.
submitted, and it's done. Most of our shit was at guard mount. You guys, every time we got our weapons,
Right, right.
I did guard mount. Hey, I was loaned out to the security
augmentee?
forces when I was waiting for my
You're augmentee, huh?
my
Because you didn't have a
clearance.
clearance? Yeah. Yeah.
guard mount, baby. That's where you got all your info.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Space Force did it after hours phone calls. So there you go.
Space Force.
On behalf of all of us here, I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please like, share, subscribe, and let us know how we did in the comments. And make sure next week that you are not late for changeover. I know. I see. The instinct is there to do it.
I think you
So none of that's over though.
Jake
Eric,
said no.
end up to like 10 minutes ago.
I know. I know.
Eric.
Well,
I got
if you
in
listen
trouble.
to last week's, you'll see how much I edited that. So
First week I do augmentee cop, I get in trouble. No, so I get a crash course. This is how you're a cop. All right, cool, whatever. So I go to the chow hall and they're like, "Hey, where's your gun? Where's your M16?" So it's fucking back in the Jeep. Like, why am I gonna carry it?
Oops. Juan, you're fired.
Eric, there's a
Holy
joke that was always going around is how do you know an augmentee versus a real cop? Augmentee will rack it at freaking changeover.
Oh yeah.
oh, nice. That's a good one. Yeah,
The
that's a good one.
clearing barrel official always had to be very aware of what he was doing when we had augmentees, man.
The other thing I got in trouble for was my flight chief, on the space side, has like, "Hey, I need to talk to you. So if you get a chance, we're working the mid. Can you come in?" All right, cool. Guess who takes his weapon inside the skiff? This guy.
No.
Wow, you got no training.
Airman,
Why?
That was valid though.
Are you
Fuck it,
starting
called
to
me.
understand why they made you a space guy?
because that was awesome.
Because
There's no
security
Racing gear.
because security forces can't instruct. That's why. Because
That's
they don't know
why.
how to tell you right. Right?
Oh my goodness. Well, if I have to hold his hand and say, "Don't take your gun in there, but take it in there."
Hey, nobody told me these things. They're like, "Hey, here's your gun."
Yeah,
Here's
but you work in a skiff. It's a prohibited item.
He's a cop.
Yeah.
Hey,
in-
now I knew that.
You can join the cops and go dock in the air raid shelter. So, yeah.
Doc with some, what was the
Sloshing
content? Sloshing around.
You're right, Marty. It didn't get better. It did not get better.
Did not.
dude. When you were talking about sloshing around, I was like, dude, I still want to say some shit right now, but I'm like, nah.
Man, thanks for the week, and I'll see you next week.
All right. Woo.